before Doomcock came on just to say hi, and very happy to see that Exozone is back. Him and Gary kind of figured everything out. So we're gonna hang out here until either I get tired or whatever until he's on. So anyway, want to stop by, want to talk to you guys. So there's nothing really much to talk about. I saw some paparazzi pictures of Harrison Ford striding around Mayfair in London. If you've ever been to London, for you Americans and have been, you know where I'm talking about. Hey Dave, how you doing? You know what I'm talking about. It's a very kind of a. I actually think that's where we stayed. Hey Philip. All right, just a second. I'm getting some wine. Sorry guys. Friday night wouldn't be Friday night without a little bit of bullshit, would it? Anyway, so he's in Mayfair. Thank you, Dave. Just probably resting up, and apparently they're getting ready to start filming in Glasgow. Glasgow, Scotland is a place that is also a stand-in at times for Chicago. And considering what a shithole Chicago is, you really can't blame them. The left can say whatever they want, but they know. They know. I mean, you don't want your crew getting mugged and getting in the middle of a BLM stupid whatever they do. And the mayor sucks there, and they know that too. She's an angry little dwarf person. Anyway, so yeah, they're filming what they can, and I'd say Indy 5 is probably gonna wrap when it's supposed to. It might wrap a week later. I don't know, but I do know it seems like everything's fine. So anyway, what else is new? Yeah, so apparently it seems that we've got a certain Lucasfilm employee, or he says he still is, Pablo Hidalgo, going through his shelves of books. Okay. James Bond did ask him if he was actually getting ready to move, and he was packing out, and he got a no response. So, there you go. Hey James, how you doing? So that was funny. But if you looked at the thumbnail, Pablo is basically using the back of Heir to the Empire, the original first printing, where it says, basically it says the stories are up to George Lucas's discretion alone, because there's always been an argument that the EU is the EU canon, and again, the red diaper baby from Chile loses the argument. It's not that. It's this. He doesn't get the point. The point is this. It is not that we all feel, I mean, I don't feel, that the pure EU is canon. It is that you guys, hey, Vader fan, you guys disregarded it without any thought to what the fans think. B, the lie Kathy told about not having any stories, comic books, or anything with which to base the next step is to me hilarious when he holds this up. So what he's saying is he's basically contradicting her, and he's basically contradicting the Lucasfilm, what they wanted everybody to believe. you're a Star Wars fan, you're like going, what are you talking about? There are hundreds of books. There are hundred. I mean, Dark Horse Comics, the first Marvel comics. I mean, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And there you go, and there it is. What I think they'll never admit. What is that? Dog hair? I have dog hair in my mouth. Yeah. What else is new? What they're not saying is they didn't want to pay Alan Dean Foster and James Luceno, who they didn't hire back to write anything, and he wrote some really good books. Kevin Anderson, and the rest. Troy Deming, Troy. I gotta go back up and look. He's one of my favorites. He wrote Tatooine Ghost. A.C. Crispin's estate and all these other people, they didn't want to pay them any money for using their stories. That's Disney. And it gave, and this is my philosophy, and I was talking to my husband today about this. It is not that Kennedy really gave a shit about Star Wars, because she didn't, and we all know that. I mean, she's not a fan. It is this, and get close, gather around. She gave no shits at all. Troy Denning, yep, I was right. She gave no shits at all. And she basically told Pablo and her story group, come up with something. I don't care. And that's exactly what they did. They had no guidance. They had no parameters. They were told to come up with something, and they came because they were free and clear to do whatever they wanted, and we see what we got. We get the High Republic, and that thing is just, they're trying again so hard, but if you get to get it back out there, and it's like, no. It's interesting. If you have an Instagram account and you follow Star Wars, they've got it in the stories thing where they're not allowing you to comment, because they put the High Republic advertisement, the last one, in a commentable section, and they were getting completely obliterated. Disney Books is desperate. They have the entire montage of, as Dave called it, infantile bullshit up there, and they're getting accosted. It's really interesting to watch this, and it is the result of having no guidance, no structure, no vision to follow. Think about the whiteboard with dinosaurs and diversity ahead of the Force, ahead of the journey, the hero's journey, all of that shit. And dinosaurs, what the fuck? If you think about the galaxy and the universe that George Lucas created, you could look at some of the animals that we saw and realize that those on our planet would be prehistoric. That the idea came from that. You have to look at the galaxy as hey, Bone, as the worlds are in different, the planets and systems that we see are all in different stages of evolution, and some go off in a completely different evolutionary way than, like the planet that humans came from. And of course The Rock. I mean, what the, and Leox Gayasi. Who gives a shit? So yeah, please hit the like button and share and subscribe if you haven't, because it helps the algorithm. And I really want to get 2,000 subscribers. I want to get a good solid 2,000 subscribers, and I'm stuck at 1780 right now. Anyway, so the lack of understanding that evolution didn't follow the same path and life didn't follow the same path on every planet system for these new writers is hilarious. It's really like, wow. So we get a rock that if you don't watch him, he's moving. And he's a navigator. We have all right, anybody who took high school biology knows what asexual means, right? It's a one-celled amoeba, okay? They can impregnate themselves. That would be a hermaphrodite if it was a human, or something similar. Lex Giassi is a asexual. Again, Claudia Gray doesn't know what the word means and doesn't know the context of the word. Aren't we all lucky? But as long as we know that sex is part of this thing, it's all good because that's what the kids need to hear. What the fuck? All right, I mean, let's not talk about Star Wars. Let's talk about where people put their penises, okay? And what other people allow in their vaginas, okay? Because that's what it's about. Ew. Then doesn't that feel like Star Wars to you? In a creepy, weird, alternate universe? I don't know. But anyway, so that it's funny. I mean, but they dumped the EU with the solid foundations of good storytelling that they could have plucked characters out of, plucked circumstances and situations, storylines, all this stuff. They shit all over it and come up with this garbage. And we're all supposed to go, bullshit. No, I mean, well, here's the deal. It's really funny. If you ever see The Empire Strikes Back, it's called Empire of Dreams. You ever seen that? Any of you guys raise your hands? And Irvin Kershner, who came in to direct The Empire Strikes Back, not bad, basically said, I've never directed a movie where sex was implied. What do you mean by that? What do you think was going on the Falcon on that slow boat ride to Bespin? Okay. So, things like that should be, okay, yeah, okay, okay. Do we need to have it all written out? Do we need to see it, hear about it? No. But we have a generation of writers who aren't writers. They're political activists. They're motivated by being worried about what people do in bed together with each other and who they go to bed with, or if they do it at all, with the circumstance of Leox Gayassi, Gassy, Gassy. But I find it very interesting that we've fallen so far in this. And as a society, I mean, look at this. Now we've got people trying to make it out like the idea of being born with a sex, either male or female, and a gender, either male or man or woman, is a bad thing. It's like, no, that's the way it is. I'm pretty sure that if you have a mare and she has a foal and it's born with male parts, it's a colt. And if it's born with female parts, it's a filly. What are you going to do? Tell the mare, let your baby decide for itself which gender it is? What the fuck? We're not any different from our dogs, our horses, and our animals. This is just social engineering, and it's I'm going to say this, a bunch of very mentally ill people, okay, who, while we were all looking over there, they jumped in to the culture and, but they're on their way out. They're on their way out, and I can tell. You know, Kennedy, once Indy 5 is done, you'll start seeing her getting accolades. And I would say we're not going to hear for sure until maybe next May that Jon Favreau took over Lucasfilm. They're restructuring. I mean, that's a fact. I mean, Taika Waititi is like, my movie can't be made because they're restructuring. Now you've got Patty Jenkins doing interpretive dance, begging to get attention for her Rogue Squadron, and it's like, if I don't see Luke and Wedge and Wes Jansen and the rest of the gang, I ain't watching it. Okay, I don't want to watch, you know, Top Gun chickage with, Dykes on Parade, which I'm afraid that's what she's planning because I've read her comments and it's like, just go back and direct Cleopatra and Wonder Woman, whatever. Okay, just go away. You fat assed. She's huge. I mean, if she was sitting at my kitchen island right now, her ass would be as wide as my kitchen island. I mean, she's like, it's like, holy shit. She's gross. And of course, probably very insecure about the way she looks. And because she works with Gail Gadot and other really beautiful Hollywood actresses, she probably feels really bad for herself. Phil, I don't think Chapek needs to be kicked out. He just started. And you must be a fan of Ryan Cannell's, and you think everything is going to happen like that. It's not, so stop it. And don't come here with that attitude. It took me a long time to realize that we're not going to see Kennedy frog marched out of Lucasfilm, that it's going to be slow, ponderous, yet definitely happening thing. Okay? All right. Bob Chapek is doing the best he can. Okay? I look at him and some of the things he said. Let's go back. He said, we're going from a content-oriented thing to a distribution model. That means guess who's in charge of this? You and me. Okay? Does it make you feel better? It makes me feel better because Iger never would have done that. Iger is too worried about his political future, which is okay, fine. It's hilarious. Bob Chapek is fine. He comes from accounting. He is a businessman. I got no problems with him. He has a huge company to run. And lots of times shit goes down that he doesn't know went down until after it happened. You could go from changing the name of Boba Fett's ship. That wasn't his choice. He probably didn't know they were going to do it. They're going to do what? A lot of times when you see something like that or something woke, it was a policy, probably, or some vice president of, latrines came up with it, and they implemented it without the boss's knowledge. Okay, that doesn't make him bad. That means that he runs a very big company, and not everything is going to reach his desk in a timely manner. Okay, it's just not. Disney's huge. It's fucking huge. They have in their employ hundreds of thousands of people all across the planet. And blaming him for this is bullshit. Whatever you're blaming him for. Here's the deal. I don't like wokeness, but I don't like it when people show up unannounced and start bitching about something. I don't even know what they're talking about. I do the Star Wars thing, and if something else goes on, I'll I'll mention it. Like Disney's being sued over some insurance issue, which is interesting to me. The SEC investigation is still going. This is just stuff that's happening. And, I don't even, this is me. I don't know what you're talking about. Now, if I ran Disney and I discovered we had a department for diversity and inclusion, I would cut it out. I would say, we are no longer funding this thing. Please give everyone their 2 weeks notice. Okay? Why? Question. Does it earn any money? Another question. Are we actually paying stock dividends right now to our shareholders? No. So, when we're trying to cut back and figure out places where we can trim the fat, we've got this bullshit going on. Here I thought we were hiring people based on their merit. We're not doing this anymore. That is over, okay? If people are upset, we have an HR department. They can go there, okay? And that's what I would do. Yes, Phil, I know, okay? And I'm done talking about it. I'm here to talk Star Wars, okay? I don't care. And, eventually that stuff is going to go away anyway. Hey, Mazarus. Mazarus is in the house. So we've got Pablo and basically talking about Heir to the Empire and trying to use it as some sort of, I don't know, what point was he trying to make? Maze, because I'm still confused. I mean, I'm like, and I forgot to tell you guys this. James Bond said to him straight out, it looks like, I'm going to paraphrase what he said, it looks like you're packing to move. Pablo the Fat. Excuse me. He said to him, it looks like you're packing out to move. Yep. And he didn't say anything. He didn't reply back. He won't. I think he knows that people are talking about this stuff, and I think he knows that he already said too much. Because when he said, after 20 years, I have no plans, and I don't know what hers are, her being Kathy, that's pretty much, I'm done. I'm being restructured out. And that's what they're doing. Let me explain how they do it. I'm not saying they hired auditors, but there's a thing what they do. They hired these guys. You guys have seen Office Space, right? You remember the Bobs? Remember them? They asked everybody, what do you do every day? And the guy, the employee would tell them this is what I do every day. All right, I collate. I sign TPS reports. I, create code for Y2000, Y2K, whatever. Because they got to decide, are there redundancies? Who can we let go? What's the pay, your payroll's your biggest expense. So you're going to go look there at the first thing to cut back. And it happened to me. I mean, the reason why I ended up working for Tick Army is because it was after 9/11, and all of the nonprofit money was being sent to like the Red Cross and all this other stuff, and you couldn't get the funds raised. And there are ways to automate, what I was doing. So I had about a month. I was out in a week, 2 weeks. No, it took me, yeah, I got the job within 2 weeks of being told. All right. Because I knew where they were, because that's what I did. And when I saw that job come over the email, I was like, I'll try this one. And I ended up working for the House Majority Leader. Okay. And I had met him before. I was scared shitless. I mean, I'm a shy person, and I don't normally put politicians on pedestals, but Dick Armey is one of those I did because he's a man of integrity. I know him personally. I learned a lot from him, from watching him. I met a lot of really great people just by being in that office. If Jim Rogan had won his seat back, I would have probably ended up there eventually because he's one of the bravest men I've ever come across. You want a political hero? He was a House impeachment manager against Clinton, and they basically had him on death row. And he was a congressman from Burbank. Okay, how a conservative won that seat, I'll never know. But they were very happy with him until this shit with Slick Willie started. Okay, and Army and Speaker Hastert told him, we want to hold on to this seat, so maybe you need to step back. And he said, no, you asked me to do this, and I will do this. I mean, he knew he was going to lose his seat. He knew the Clintons were gunning for him. Because they're vindictive. They're horrible people. My thing after today and watching some stuff go down is, don't waste your time. Because people like that will show their true colors and eventually just fade away. And Mays knows what I'm talking about. All right? There's a time to go after some people, and there's a time to let it go. Okay? And I'm to the point where I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I'm just not going to listen. I'm not going to be part of that. I don't like phonies. I don't like fakes. I don't like people who aren't authentic. And I don't like people who make a bigger deal of themselves than they are. Okay. And that's what was going on. Okay. And eventually, no, we don't like bores. And eventually this will out in the wash, and it's fine. I just was like, we were looking at guns, we were looking at other things. We had 4th of July dinner to start to gather, and I was like, I don't want to do this, and I don't have any time. I was waiting for Doomcock to drop a video, and he didn't. And you might get a surprise in the next one on his. I know something. But, I just didn't, and I don't think if here's the deal. If you're in with a mixed group of people and someone there, they're just there. I can't remember what I did. You just gotta let it go. I mean, you just gotta walk away and just say, all right, I'm gonna go over there till this is over. Okay, and then I'll be back. And the reason is this: you don't want to make it about you. Okay. And that's some of the advice I should always keep myself that I learned from my husband and from Mr. Army. The argument's never about you, and it's never about the enemy. Okay, it's about the policy. Okay, it's about what you're talking about. It's about the thing, the issue. Okay, you might not like this person. Well, you don't have to listen to him. Snarf. I don't even know what I did. That's the thing, is now I can't remember what I did, because I'll just use it all the time. Then if I could, I'm gonna have to go back and watch this. But anyway, and that's one of the things, and we have a very mixed group of people. I tend to hang out with people who are intellectual, who are pragmatic, who are smart, who can read between the lines, and who are not just fanboys. Oh, I do know some shit. I do. And I know there's something that's going to be on that video, and you'll see someone you know. That's all I'm going to say. If it's what I think he's going to do, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Anyway, Anyway, what else is going on? Nothing really. Hey, if you haven't read the fan fiction, it's up on my community page. Please go and rate it. Please leave a comment. No one ever does that. And yeah, well, he's had Cameron on, but this will be one of those. It'll be it'll be one of the news videos. Okay, just be ready, because it's gonna be pretty funny. It is. I am gonna laugh when I, yeah. But please, if you haven't read the fan fiction, please read it. It's on the community page. Lico's artwork of Mako Spence and Leanna is the picture. You just hit the more thing, you see the link, you go on there and read it. I always consider everything I put up a draft, because I always find issues, grammar issues, spelling issues. Didn't really want to say it that way, you know. But I had a blast writing it, and Troy Picelli read it and liked it. But I need input. I want to read input. Did you like it? No. Why? Did you like it? Yes. This is why. There's a lot of surprises in it. There's a lot of connections to other characters outside of the underworld. When you look at it, oh, he does. Wait, Mazeris, is that true? That can't be true. That's bullshit. No, 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 no. Quentin Tarantino wouldn't make a movie with him. He might. Kurt Russell, yeah. It's true? Ugh. Ick. Ick. So yeah, I'm gonna start adding other fan fiction too. I gotta go through it and go through that blog, take a couple of things down, and then add it. And there's an old story out there somewhere, and I'm gonna have to take it and rip it apart. Culture? No. They just want to see Adam Driver bare chested. What didn't they? Didn't the world get hurt enough by TLJ? I mean, he's just that kid. He's just so gross. I don't care what anybody thinks. I find him, Adam Driver, repulsive. You may be mad at me. You may get mad. I have no fucks to give. No fucks given. Okay? He is, in my opinion, repulsive. Okay? I mean, I'm like, muffin booms. The Raylos are like, ooh, it's better. Ooh, yummy. Yum. Everybody's like, straight jacket. Wheat germ. He's from like Indiana. I mean, this is like he's coming home. You know, it really pisses me off. My friend John Wells is an actor, good looking guy, and I think he's a better actor than Driver. Far better actor, and he can't get. He was in Hatfields and McCoys with Kevin Costner. He can't get traction. He can't. Okay, he can't. And it's like, you know, I can't. It pisses me off. It really, really does. Lico took the description of the character and kind of ran with it. I think she looks more like an older Claudia Schiffer. I mean, to me, and it don't look like me. I don't look that good. I don't. Not even close. But yeah, he did a really good job. And I told him when we were talking about it that I thought, when I thought about who and how this all would look, the only person I could think of to play Mako Spence is Kurt Russell. Really. I mean, if you think about it, it's Kurt Russell. And he did an excellent job of that. All right. Because I think of Wyatt Earp. All right. I think of that, you know, that been there, done that kind of thing that Kurt Russell has from Tombstone and other movies that he's been in. And he just, I mean, that guy's a badass. He really is a badass. And I thought, what? Imagine Kurt Russell, who actually could have played Han Solo, doing this role and then have a kid who looks a lot like Harrison Ford. And he's like mentoring him because you don't just go and become a smuggler. That's the thing I hated about Solo was even the mentor, Beckett, is bullshit. When you look at the lore of the underworld and Narshada, there are family groups. When you look at the smugglers that Han kind of allied with, they all stuck up for each other. And that's, they were kind of like a gang they were like a family. And then Lando showed up and he had his ship's rental thing. And Han rented out that one that he called the Bria, and it got destroyed. And then at the end of the Hutt Gambit, he walks away after he wins. Or no, it was at the beginning. Was it the beginning of Rebel Dawn? Or maybe it was Hutt Gambit. No, I think it was the beginning of Rebel Dawn. He wins the Falcon. He goes to Cloud City. They play in a tournament. He and Lando are the last two left. And Lando says, you can have any ship in my lot if you beat me. And Han knows he was going to beat. I mean, he just knows he's going to beat him, and he does. He says, I want the Falcon. And Lando's like, no, any ship on my lot but that one. And Han's like, you said any ship. I want the Falcon. And that's how it happened. And you kind of want to set stuff like that up. You kind of want to have an older, more seasoned guy saying, first off, shut your mouth. You talk too much. And you were baiting those guys, and you were in more trouble than you think you were. And it doesn't do you any good to make enemies, okay? Somebody like that. Somebody that'll teach them, this is how you do it. This is what you do, this is what you don't do. You have to have your own rules. Like, I don't transport slaves. I don't transport sex slaves at all. And there has to be almost a code of morality there. And there is, and when you're thinking about Narshada and the underworld and the smugglers, and there are smugglers who do it and the ones who don't. Okay. And when you think about how Han gets there, when you read the story, you'll understand why he allies himself with the people with a decent heart. When you think about it, there doesn't have to be a smuggling trade if the products that they were moving weren't proscribed or overtaxed, all right, or just illegal, all right. It's the same argument against the drug war if you think about it. Moving spice, okay, moving prostitutes and sex slaves and slaves in general, no. Any kind of human bondage, but if Java needs the shipment of glimmer stem moved, okay, I'll do it, and that stuff. And that to me, it's like almost like, in some ways, it's like, the bathtub gin during the speakeasy period, during Prohibition. And there shouldn't be a reason for it, but there is. But they move other things. Art, money, arms, arms shipments. I could imagine the Alliance hiring somebody like Mako and saying, how many ships can you get together? We have to move all this warehouse full of small arms from here to here before the Empire finds out we took it. And we don't have the logistics and transport to move this stuff ourselves. Okay, I see that happening. I see them being hired to commandeer bank ships. Ships that move armored car. Like basically robbing armored trucks. Okay, that kind of stuff for the Alliance or for themselves. Okay, kind of like the Old West. And I look at Arshada as being kind of like Tombstone or Deadwood, South Dakota, or Dodge City, Kansas. Kind of like that, kind of wild, woolly. The law is, there you go. So I hope you guys enjoy it if you like it, because I had a lot of fun writing it. And I've got another one that I'm going to start going through and adding called Fate of the Alliance. And it's got Luke and Leia in it. And Mako and Leanna show up in that one too. And Leanna's got a story about Anakin that I put in there. So yeah, it's just tell me if you like it or not. I mean, my thing is, and this is the thing that when I read Pablo's stupid statement about heir to the Empire, he's steaming right now. They don't want to see that. They don't want to see Thrawn show up and any sort of story based on that happening, because there's no Rey, there's no Finn, there's no Poe, there's no Kyle Ren. There's nothing of theirs in it. You are going to have Leia. Han and Leia are married. Okay. You're going to maybe have her pregnant. Okay. Because that was part of the story that was very, very major. Okay. Joruus Sabao was very adamant about getting his hands on her and the kids, or Luke, or all four of them. Okay, so think about it. You can't write that story without Jaina and Jason. I mean that's the thing that's really cool. I mean, there's been a big argument. All right, let's go to the last episode of Mandalorian. When Luke shows up and people going, no one knew who he was. Oh yes, they did. I guarantee you, if Cara Dune is who she says she is, that she knew who Luke was. Because if she was on Endor, she knew who Luke was. She knew he was in the cockpit running navigation for the shuttle. She knew who he was. Okay. Everybody in the rebellion knew who Luke was. Moff Gideon, yes, he knew who he was. The only Jedi that's public in the galaxy, all right, he knew exactly who it was. I mean, when people said they saw the X-Wing and thought it was, I mean, this is funny. When Doomcock said it, he thought it was Ahsoka. I'm like, it's not Ahsoka. That's Red 5. That's Luke. That's Skywalker. Ask Maze. I called it. I called it last year. I called it last winter. The only Jedi that can show up and do anything and have it mean anything is Luke. It's like Jon Favreau read my mind. But again, Jon Favreau is one of us. So he saw it the same way we did. It had to be Luke. And what we should be doing is parading him around because he's able to hide it from everybody. There's a reason why they went after that happened, why basically Gina's, that one tweet set off a firestorm and got her, I guess, canceled, not exactly fired, but just told, we don't want you around anymore. And it did get her dropped from her agency. It's because of Luke. They had no idea he was coming back. And they know now that the rumors that Dave Filoni put in the place to retcon and put the ST in an alternate timeline are happening. You want to know why? Does that Luke resemble anybody that we know in TLJ that's supposed to be Luke? No, it doesn't. That person who showed up to save the day and take Grogu is the Luke Skywalker we expected and should have had. The fact that he shows up with Grogu 5 years after Return of the Jedi. Wasn't Ben Solo supposed to be his first Padawan? Now it's Grogu. Okay. Now, you've got, I think there are comic books, they're trying to make it so Grogu's there and Ben, and it's like, no, look, here's the deal. If you're a bean counter and you're realizing that you couldn't sell Ben Solo figures if he was a vibrator. All right. Hi, Ben. You're like, we can't. This character has to go away. We can't. Hasbro doesn't want him. Okay. And I didn't watch Resistance, but I am having fun with the Bad Batch. I liked it. I liked this morning's. It was very interesting, and Little Omega is a lot like Jango. A lot like Jango. She's really smart. And they gave her a real overdeveloped intellect. It doesn't make her a Mary Sue. It just makes her really smart. I mean, there are kids that are 9, 10 years old who can kick the crap out of ace chess players. And that's what she was doing today. It was also watching it, you could see the birth of the rebellion. You could see it actually kind of happening. And what I loved about it, what I really loved about it, the Imperial officer is Chinese. I betcha that pissed them off. Here's my thing, is I think that a guy like Dave Filoni doesn't like them. Jon Favreau doesn't like them. Quentin Tarantino hates the Chi-Coms. He hates them. I mean, he's said as much. They tried to make him go back to the drawing board and change some stuff in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because the Chinese censors were freaked out. And he told them to fuck off. And I'll tell you something else. He was talking about Bruce Lee yesterday on the Joe Rogan Experience. It's on here on YouTube. You gotta see it. You have to see it. You have to. It is. He basically said the reason why I did what I did is because Bruce Lee was well known to not have any respect for the American stuntmen. He said they were pussies. So when you've got Brad Pitt, who's actually better looking now than he was back in the day, get into that fighting stance, that American trained martial arts fighting stance, he suddenly realized this guy is trained to kill. He's not a match fighter. He's trained to kill. Because apparently the character that Pitt played was a World War II veteran. He's a hero. He fought guerrilla warfare with the Filipino resistance. So there are a lot of Japanese soldiers that got their heads turned the wrong direction in the Philippines when that guy was around. And it's really interesting to me. When I see that scene, it didn't bother me. And I don't, why people always have to put everything with he's Asian and he's untouchable, or he's black, he's untouchable. No. When I was a kid and I was watching Rocky, and I hated Apollo Creed. I hated him. I thought he was a complete obnoxious asshole who deserved to get his ass kicked. And it wasn't the fact that I didn't like black guys. He was a dick. If you ask me who my favorite fighters were back in the day, it wasn't Muhammad Ali. He wouldn't shut his goddamn mouth. I don't like people like that. I never did. There was a jockey named Ronnie Franklin who rode Spectacular Bid. Spectacular Bid actually came very close to being a Triple Crown winner. It would have been the third Triple Crown winner in a row in the 1970s. So it's Seattle Slew, Affirmed, Spectacular Bid. Ronnie Franklin was a cokehead. Ronnie Franklin also liked to talk a lot. Completely, they're trying to make him into the next Steve Cawthon. Steve Cawthon was an 18-year-old, what they call a bug boy, an apprentice jockey, who rode a Triple Crown winner. And he could ride. And no shit. I mean, when he was on Affirmed, or any horse at that time, they ran for him. He had the most wins of the year. He was Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year. And it was awesome. I had that Sports Illustrated somewhere, and I think I might try to find it again somewhere to buy it, just because, jockeys get a lot of crap for not being athletes, but if you weigh 90 pounds and are standing on the balls, you're bouncing on the balls of your feet, riding an animal with a mind of its own, who's batshit crazy, by the way, that weighs 1,200 pounds and is running 40 miles an hour, and you can control him? No, you're not a fullback for the Lions. No, but you ride a horse that can run 40 miles an hour. That's a nut. And you can squeeze him into a little itty bitty hole between two other horses that big. Okay. When I think about bravery, I think about jockeys. I don't think about football players. I don't think about baseball or basketball. I think about jockeys. Well, and the shit they go through. And they got little tiny, body armor now, and they got those, their caps. That's it. Okay. That's it. And a lot of them get killed. A lot of them have been killed. But anyway, enough of that. So yeah, well, all right. So we're talking. So we talked about Pablo and his inability to really get the point of why people were pissed. Oh, and before, because Doomcock is on now. Before I go, there are 4 Star Wars TV shows set to start filming. One's going to start filming this autumn, and the other 3 are going to start filming next year in England. And they're not movies, so Rogue Squadron is not one of them. Taika Waititi's movie is not one of them. But I am going to say this. They are retconning Han Solo. That is my guess. I don't have any proof of that. Just some some really weird, not quasi, really weird, strange things going on that don't seem right or normal. Okay. Anyway, I gotta go. And I'm gonna be over on Doomcock's channel, just hanging out for a little while. Talk to y'all later. Be safe, and